Keenan Allen moving to the Chicago Bears in a worst-case scenario here for Justin Herbert, Marquise Hollywood Brown to the Kansas City Chiefs, and Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's talk about all these right here on the ADP Average Dudes podcast. I am Matt Mormon. Let's start things out here with Justin Fields. Let's start with the quarterback. So Fields, after a pretty up and down first couple of years in Chicago, he's been on the trade market, he's been on the trade block. I had started kind of telling my friends during free agency, hey, I think Fields is going to go for a fourth-round pick. And it turns out even I kind of overshot it. Justin Fields traded from the Bears to the Steelers for a sixth-round pick that can become a fourth-round pick based on playing time. Obviously, you dive right in here. First of all, he's going to be going in a competition against Russell Wilson, a competition that if Fields is good, he should win, right? I think the Steelers for sure declined the fifth-year option. I cannot imagine them committing to Fields for a second year like that right out the blocks. So it's really going to be a competition here between Fields and Russ. And depending on who you think that wins that competition, how you think that competition goes, that's going to depend a lot on how you feel about George Pickens. I had made my rankings up on Saturday earlier on in the day, and this was before the Fields news. I had George Pickens, I thought pretty highly. I had him at wide receiver 29. That's kind of a higher-end flex option there with really breakout potential. And wide receiver being just so deep. I mean, you can get to 29 wide receivers without really having to blink too much. So I really was excited for Pickens with Russ. If it's Fields, I'm going to be a little bit less excited, although Fields did just have a great year with DJ Moore. DJ Moore finally had that breakout year we've been waiting for. So maybe Pickens would still have a lot of excitement and hope regardless. But the running backs, I think they would benefit more with Fields than they would with Russ. I don't think either one throws the running backs much, but having that rushing danger at quarterback, having that rushing capacity with Fields, I think would really help those guys out to have more efficiency on the ground for Najee Harris in particular. For Fields himself, my rankings yesterday, when I did them, I put him at QB 14, and that was before this trade. I think I'm actually going to leave him right there. That's behind Purdy, Tua, that's in front of Trevor and Goff. That was kind of where I put him as a just like placeholder of, hey, if Justin Fields is a starting quarterback, my goodness, I have some weird light going on through the window over here. If he has a starting job, that's where I would be putting him. And he does have a starting job, I think, there in Pittsburgh. Also, you got to keep in mind, it's kind of a QB2 range. So you're shooting for upside there. So that's why I would kind of do him over like a Goff and a Stafford and even a Cousins. It is because of that upside that he possesses with the rushing ability. So exciting for Fields. Great move by the Steelers. You got him for absolutely nothing. So even if it doesn't work out, whatever, no big deal. I do think, though, however, if he's not very good early in the year, there's a very strong chance he then just gets benched so they can keep that draft pick as low as possible. I don't think they're going to let him work through the kinks if he's not good early on. So for Dynasty, if you can get someone to give you pretty good market value on Justin Fields, I would go ahead and take it and get out because I do think if he's not good, I mean good, he can't just be fine. He has to be good. They're going to pull that plug pretty early, I think. Let's go on to the next big piece of news here, and that is Keenan Allen traded from the Los Angeles Chargers to the Chicago Bears, where Justin Fields just left. And Mike Williams also, by the way, being cut from the Chargers. So Justin Herbert losing his weapons rapidly here. I'm very worried about Justin Herbert now. When I did my rankings, I have him at QB 11, but looking at it now, man, I think I got to flip him in Purdy, and I think I've got to flip him in Tua. I think he's got to fall behind those guys. He's outside the QB1 range then. And I should say, when I made these rankings, I did not include any players who are not currently on roster. So any remaining free agents I did not put in here because most of them are not really too noteworthy anymore at this point. Also, no rookies yet. I won't include them in my rankings until we have landing spots after the draft. So for Keenan Allen, I was all ready to be like, hey, high-end wide receiver 2, super mega volume. He'll have one more really strong year in LA with Justin Herbert before the cliff hits. Now I'm very concerned. I'm so concerned in my initial rankings. And keep in mind, these are initial rankings. It is a long time between now and doing real drafts. Things are going to change a whole lot. Perception is going to change a whole lot of these guys. My mind is going to change a lot of these guys. But my first initial ranking of Keenan Allen is wide receiver 27, behind Mike Evans, behind Stephon Diggs, a couple other veterans who I have questions about. And look, I think he's the number 2 in this offense. It's a rookie quarterback, and as great as CJ Stroud was last year, historically, rookie quarterbacks are not good for weapons, especially anything outside the wide receiver one on a team. I think DJ Moore can still come away pretty strong. I still have him at 12 among wide receivers, but I really don't feel too great about that either. He may be falling as well as I kind of process this whole thing more and kind of what happened here. So Keenan Allen definitely stock down being in Chicago. And lastly, Hollywood Brown, Marquise Hollywood Brown, one of my favorite players in the entire NFL. He now goes to Kansas City. He joins the Chiefs, and he brings that speed element that they haven't had since Tyreek Hill, or at least a successful speed element they haven't had since Tyreek Hill. Maybe he just fully takes on the MVS role and expands upon that in the offense. But I think what's really exciting about this is that it just opens things up more and more for Rashee Rice. I don't think this really hurts Rice too much. I don't think this hurts Kelsey too much. I think Brown just adds a different element to this offense. A lot of targets last year in the Chiefs offense went to unproductive players. And now if those same targets can just get shifted to Hollywood, you're not taking things away from Rice. You're not taking things away from Kelsey. You're just simply consolidating those like 3 or 4 guys. Your Justin Watson, your Sky Moore, your Kadarius Toney. If you can just consolidate that into Hollywood Brown, I think this is a great win for everybody. This even gives me enough confidence in Patrick Mahomes to make him jump up to my QB2. And I'd even consider him at QB1 over Josh Allen potentially as we go into next year. I don't think I talked about Calvin Ridley, actually. So let's talk about Calvin Ridley real quick before I get out of here. Calvin Ridley going to the Tennessee Titans. He becomes my favorite wide receiver in this offense. DeAndre Hopkins falls a little bit behind him to me. Both guys, though, I think could be decent. Definitely the flex options, wide receiver 3s at this point, though. I would not be going too crazy on either of them because Will Levis is kind of a question mark. But it does make me a bit more excited about Will Levis. Each of the previous 2 seasons in the NFL, we have seen these quarterbacks get really boosted up, mainly because, in my opinion, of the wide receivers around them. We had Geno Smith in Seattle. We had Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. I kind of think that Will Levis could be that guy this year in Tennessee, where he's not actually that great of a quarterback. The difference there being that he's very young compared to Baker and Geno, but I don't think he's that good. However, when you've got Tony Pollard, you've got Tyjae Spears, you've got Chig even, you've got Ridley, and you've got Hopkins, that's a great supporting cast. I think can really boost him up and make him kind of fake his way to high-end QB2 numbers. I've got him ranked pretty darn low right now, but that's what I'm going to have to change. I've got him right now at 19, just ahead of Aaron Rodgers, just behind Kirk Cousins. I think I'm going to actually flip him and put him above Cousins. I might even put him above Stafford. So those veteran guys, I can see a real breakout here for Will Levis. So now, guys, that's going to do it for me here with a quick roundup on some of the latest moves and signings and trades across the NFL. I do have rankings. I know I promised to have those out this week. I'm going to go ahead and do that next week, though, just because these late moves did happen. So I want one more chance to kind of refresh and comb over these things before I really put them out there. So let me know your guys' thoughts on Calvin Ridley, Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert. How worried are you about Justin Herbert? Let me know. Sound off on those things in the comments down below, and we'll see you guys next time.